this video, we're going to talk about slope-intercept form, and we're going to do some examples with how to take the slope and the y-intercept and put them in the slope-intercept form equation. But I also have another video on why we use y equals mx plus b. So if you're interested in that, look up in the top right-hand corner of this video right now, and I'll put a link to that video. So in this video, we're going to just look at some examples. Okay, so we already know that the slope-intercept form of the equation is y equals mx plus b. Okay, so m is our slope, b is our y-intercept, and x and y just represent points that are on our line. So we're going to look at three different types of examples, and we're going to write the equation in slope-intercept form. So the first two that we're going to look at, very basic, very simple. They give us the number for the slope, they give us the number for the y-intercept. Simply, we just substitute those values in. So for the first one, we see that the slope is 4, and the y-intercept is -3, so we would say y equals 4x minus 3. Okay, so we put 4 in place of m, and we put -3 in place of b. So our equation is y equals 4x minus 3. All right, the next one looks a little bit different. The slope is 0, so we could say y equals 0x, and the y-intercept is 2. Okay, well, we can clean that up a little bit, right? If we have 0x, that means we don't have an x, so we can get rid of that part. And so our final equation would just be y equals 2. Okay. All right, so for that one, we don't see an x term, so the slope is 0. And since it's y equals a number, that would actually be a horizontal line if we were to graph it. All right, so now let's look at an example where they give us a graph, and we want to write the equation from the graph. Okay, so we're still working with slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. The first thing that we can note is we see where the line crosses the y-axis. So basically, they've given us the y-intercept, so we know our equation is going to end with -5, right? So we have y equals mx minus 5. So now we just have to calculate the slope. So there's a couple ways to do this. Since we are looking at a graph, we could do rise over run, and we could just count how many units we go up and how many units we go right from one point to the next. So we could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We went up 12. 1, 2, 3, 4. We went right 4. So our slope is 12 divided by 4, which is 3. And so we can plug that in for m, and our equation would be y equals 3x minus 5. All right, and that's how we can write the equation in slope-intercept form from the graph. The last couple examples that we're going to look at are just 2 points being given to us. So we see 2 of these examples because on the first example, we see a point that already has an x-coordinate of 0. If we get a point that has an x-coordinate of 0, they have given us b. They have given us our y-intercept. So we know right here this is going to be y equals mx minus 1, right? -1 is going to be our y-intercept. So now we can use the slope formula, m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1, in order to find the slope between the 2 points. Okay, so we'll label our points, first point and second point. So we'll say m is equal to -1 minus 5 divided by 0 minus -3. Okay, -1 minus 5 is going to be -6. 0 minus -3 would be 0 plus 3. And so our slope is -2. And now we can plug -2 right in there for x. So our final equation would be y equals -2x minus 1. Okay. And the last example that we're going to look at says write an equation of the line that passes through the given points. But notice this time we don't have a point that has an x-coordinate of a 0. So we're going to have an additional step here in order to find the y-intercept. So we're going to say, all right, y equals mx plus b. This time, let's start off by finding our slope. So let's label our points, first point and second point. And let's say m is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay. All right, so now let's plug our values in. So m is equal to 9 minus 3 over -4 minus 2. So 9 minus 3 is 6, -4 minus 2 is -6, so our slope is -1. So we can plug -1 in for m. And so now we have y equals -1x, or we can just say -x plus b. All right, so at this point, we need to solve for b. So we have 2 options here. We need to take one of our points, so either 2, 3 or -4, 9, and we need to plug those values in for x and y, okay? I'm going to use 2, 3, just so I don't have to work with a negative. So I'm going to plug 2 in for x and 3 in for y. So we're going to say 3 is equal to negative, and then we're going to plug in a 2 there, plus b. And now we just solve for b. So we add 2 to both sides, and we get 5 is equal to b, or b is equal to 5. And so now we can plug that in right there. And now we have formed our equation by finding the slope, so y equals negative x, and we found our y-intercept, so y equals negative x plus 5. All right, and that's how you write the equation in slope-intercept form.